Well, hello, welcome once again. Monday, 22nd of December. I realise I probably should be wearing a Christmas jumper, but I'm not. What I have done is put an overlay on the screen of lots of what looks like baubles kind of floating around the screen, which is nice. I'll turn that off eventually. But for now, we'll kind of leave it on there. It's been an interesting day in the market. Obviously, I'm going to be using the Edge Ball report today. I have had a little look. Not many opportunities as such, but there's a couple of talking points for sure, which we can use the Edgepool platform for. Typically, I use the Power Hour breakout report. This is the main dashboard, of course, and we're on the report section. In fact, I'm going to get rid of the baubles now. There's too much going on. But let me know in the comments how you're doing. If you've had a profitable day, if you've even traded today. This week is not a very popular week to trade, and that's completely fine. You've got to do what's good for you. For me personally, I have had one trade and it came off quite nicely earlier. It wasn't related to Edgepool, more of a kind of momentum play in the US 500. But we are looking now for Edgepool trades this evening. If you don't know what Edgepool is, it is a platform, obviously the internet, which you do have to pay for, which is a link down below on the YouTube description. And I'll have to make one actually for the X one. I'll do that now. Why? Hang on. You can see that, can't you? I'm on the wrong screen. No, you can't see that. I'm on the right screen. Never mind. Yeah, no, we're having a good day. Good day. Bear with me while I put that in there. It's basically a platform that allows you to find the edge within the market, so you can have a look at the data before you get into trades. I think it's really, really handy. I wish I could use it more, but obviously, life doesn't allow me to free up the time for that. Lots of different strategies. So I just have one strategy, which I think is a good rule to have within your trading anyway. So here's the dashboard. You can see lots of different items down the left side there. Get started, Edgepool AI, reports, screen there, what's in play, watch list, which all of you can dig into. But first of all, if you go to get started, you've got lots of videos here to watch, which basically introduce you to the platform, give you an insight in a few reports as well. And it takes less than 2 hours to get into that. And when I watched them, I watched them twice, of course, to kind of get myself familiar with them. And this is a long time ago now. Yeah, so it's not hard at all to get used to the platform. So what we'll do is we'll jump to reports. And what I do is go to Power Hour breakout report, which is in my bookmarks. And then I'll just go to SPY for now. I've realized I'm right in the way. So I'm going to move myself to the left. I thought I'd be more out of the way there, but I'm not. I'm in the way. Where can I move myself? How can I move myself? There we go. What about up there? No. There. Does that seem logical to you? Normally I'm down here. We'll leave it down there. We'll leave it down there for now. That's what I'm used to on these streams. But yeah, of course, on the left side here, you've got a few more categories you can go through. This is just literally report type. So that's the same as the Power Hour breakout report. And then you've got a date range as well. You can go from the last year, the last month. I typically go for the last 6 months because it's the default option and it kind of works for me. And then, of course, just above my head there, you can see choose a sub report. And I move from standard to weekday. And what that does, it singles out all of the Mondays in the last 6 months. So we get more specific data, shall we say. So you can see on the screen there, we have got a 28% chance that a new high of day is made. And a 20% chance of the new low of day is made. New low of the day. Yes, we got there eventually. So what first we need to do is see where the price action is trading. And it is trading for the SPY. It's trading near the highs. That's the previous stop loss I had, which annoyingly actually triggered out there, even though I posted down here on TradingView, but whatever. But the lows of the day, obviously, all the way down here, and the highs of the day up here. And you can see, is it playing the right music there? doesn't matter. And you can see it's trading near the highs of the day. Not completely near, but nearer than the lows, basically. So the H4 data will show that it's a 28% chance that it comes back above this line. That's a bit big for me, if I'm completely honest with you. I like it to be around about at least less than 25, ideally less than 20%. So, for example, if the SPY is trading near the lows, go back to our data here, 20% chance of there being a new low of day made, and that would be ideal to get into. So let's move on to a good example of this. A good example would be Microsoft. Again, it's all set up for you on the left side. So you've got the stock there and the power hour breakout report, and obviously by weekday as well. And you can see that there's a 16% chance on both sides actually that there's a new high of day made and the new low of day made. Now, if we go to the Microsoft chart, which I obviously have had a look at already. Oh no, I meant Meta. Whoops. Well, yeah, okay, let's look at the data for Meta. Okay, so this one's a little bit different. I got my stocks mixed up there. I do apologise. But yeah, you've got 16% chance of a new high of day made and a 24% chance of a new low of day made. So there's a 24% chance that this stock, heading into the last hour, which is this vertical line here, 28% chance it's going to go back down here. Now, of course, this is quite a high percentage. It's not below 20%, which I'm normally aiming for. But what I was going to say is it's a good time to kind of get into the stocks because we have the support of the previous day low. We've had that a few times throughout the day. So that would have been a really nice time to enter just into the last hour as well. So you've got plenty of time for the trade to mature. And of course, your stop loss would be below the lows of the current day. So your trade would look something like this. Your stop loss would be below, obviously, the lows of the day, which is this red line. And your target price would probably be at least this most recent high or something a bit more above. Now, to do that, you can add in another report in the form of an indicator. I understand this might be a bit confusing, but you do get used to it. I use the power hour breakout report consistently and I make money on it consistently. So let's get rid of that for now. We're going to open up the indicator here for initial balance breakout, which is up here. And you can find all these indicators when you sign up for H4, if you sign up for H4, and you click indicators, and what they'll do is they'll give you like an invite only section, and these are all the H4 indicators you can select. But what we've got here now is the initial balance breakout report indicator. What we'll do is we'll get rid of these two as well so you can see a bit clearer what I'm talking about. And what this indicator does, it tracks the first hour price action, which is this box here, and then it forms these lines, as it were, which is basically just your price action lines, should we say. So obviously big first hour today, obviously being a Monday, it kind of typically is a bit like that, a bit more excitement around the markets when we open. And then of course it forms its own lines from day to day. So you can see every day is different. These are all different days here. And every single one of these box ranges is two of these lines. So you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. I'll draw it out in the box for you. So that's that size, and that'll be that size as well. And these typically form as kind of a fair target of where price action might go. So you can see on previous days, not quite exact. So we almost came up to this one. We did at the end as well on Friday night. On Thursday, we came up almost to this line. It is actually normally pretty good in terms of support and resistance. But like I said before, it's not exact. It's more of a rough area. And you can kind of couple that with previous days' highs and, moving averages if you want, or even just trend lines, etc. But an added bonus to this particular indicator is you can go into the settings of initial balance breakout here, and then you can add middle levels, which acts as like a little kind of Fibonacci. So what I would do is I would use those, which I have done in the past, and I've done that on the stream quite a few times, and I would bring up my target price up to this line here, maybe even just a little bit lower to be a bit more conservative, and there you have basically a 3-to-1 trade. You know, thereabouts at least. So what we're going to do is turn that power hour breakout back on, and we're going to do previous day's range back on, and there we have a trade set out for us. Unfortunately, we didn't get into this because I wasn't on the computer soon enough to see it, because, you know, life. But as I say, this could be a pretty good good trade. And of course, what I did on Thursday, I think it was, when I was live on the stream, you don't have to keep the stop loss down in this area below those of the day. Yes, that's where the data is, but of course, if you're in the trade, you want to manage it your own way, that's completely fine. So what I would do probably in this instance is probably bring up the stop loss to break even, or even just above, so then I know I'm definitely going to make money regardless at this point. Because the thesis of the trade is already there. You've entered the trade based on the data. It doesn't have to necessarily go to the data to the wire, if that makes sense. You've used the data to kind of get in the trade and move forward with it. So that's my example there for Meta. Hopefully that made sense. If it didn't, just watch it back. I think you'll find a lot of value in that just by watching it back. For sure. But yeah, what we'll do is we'll have a little look around in the markets. One of the tips for me, right, what we'll do, we'll leave that as it is. What we'll do is we'll get rid of initial balance breakout and previous day's range. So then all we can see on here is the power hour breakout report kind of lines indicator. Apple not having a good day, is it? Down 1%. Where are we going? So nothing really much happening here for the SPY going into the close. Bit of a low volume week, of course, but that's fine. Sometimes that can play in your favor, actually. Like today, I used a momentum trade in the early parts of the market, and obviously because it wasn't as volatile, what a bad word there, because it wasn't as volatile, it was pretty easy trade in the end. Unfortunately, it got stopped out. Shouldn't have done really, but it's what it is. So a good tip when you're looking for kind of the power hour breakout is before you kind of look at even the data, you can see where the price action is kind of trading with each stock. And I think that's a good point. So we're going to go through the Mag 7 here, thereabouts. So Apple is obviously trading near the lows of the day. So you'd have a look at the new low of day made data. Of course, that would be where you start from there. Amazon, it's had a bit of a fire end to the day. So this one, obviously the highs have been broken almost instantly. So you could have potentially gone short there, but your stop loss would have been just above. Therefore, your risk management would have been okay. You actually would have lost the trade, but of course you wouldn't have lost this much. You would have only lost this much. I hope that makes sense. Moving on, we've got Barber. Of course, we are trading. This is the lows of the day. This is the highs of the day. Red and green lines. I won't keep saying it. We're trading near the middle, so we won't look at that. We'll just move straight on because it's not near the highs or the lows. So that's where that kind of thesis goes. This one was trading near the highs. Unfortunately, it did break it to the upside. Again, you probably wouldn't have got into it because you need a bit more technical analysis to kind of go alongside it. And then we move on to Meta. Obviously, we spoke about Meta already. It's trading near the lows. We've talked through the trade opportunity there, and it seems to be maturing quite nicely so far. So yes, we're looking for stocks that are trading near the lows with possible other indicators and technical analysis to kind of go alongside the entries. Microsoft trading pretty much right in the middle, just a little bit below the middle. So we'll ignore that, we'll move on. Nvidia, bang in the middle, hasn't really moved all day actually. So we'd ignore that. And then Tesla trading near the lows of the day. So you might look at this, although to be fair, when you entered the last hour, which is this vertical line here, that is bang in the middle. So you probably wouldn't have looked at that either. So going back on that, we would have Meta. We'd had Meta and Amazon, wasn't it? So Amazon wouldn't have worked, and Meta looks like it would have worked, at least for now. So that's my kind of tip for kind of going into the power hour breakout and kind of looking at the charts perhaps before the data. And And then, of course, you would have this. You would look at Meta. You think, oh, actually, it's trading near the lows. It's come down to kind of volume profile. We touched on the fact that the previous day's range is very, very key for support here. So then we would look at the Edgepool data, which of course is here. I've already got it on the screen here, but all you would do is go to reports. You would hit Power Hour Breakout Report. You would hit on Meta, which is already up here. And then I would change personally the standard sub report to a weekday report. Nice and easy. And then you can see the data there, which is 24% chance of the new low of day would be made. Of course, I think that's a little bit high. I would like it to be below 20, especially for a singular stock. It tends to be that the percentages are a little bit higher for kind of, the SPY and the QQQ, of course, because there's, more going on rather than just the individual price action. But 24% is still nothing to kind of scruff at. So it's 1 in 4 chance, basically. I've just said so many words. I'm going to stop talking for a second. Let's have a look at what the SPY is doing, because you could have gone against it potentially. It's a bit of a big gap though to get into this. Hang on, let me reset the chart. That didn't work at all, did it? Going back down and retesting the trend line. So this is another thing you've got to watch out for. Indicators and patterns kind of heading into the close. You've got to kind of watch out for them, in my opinion at least. So I've drawn this line probably about 20 minutes before the last hour. This is the last hour here. And obviously you might be looking to get into a short that comes near the highs, because obviously that's where the data lies. We did touch on new highs of day made for SPY being like 28%, which is way too high. Yes, I wouldn't have looked at that anyway. But that's down to what kind of your risk profile is. You would have to do some back testing with this sort of thing. But yeah, for me personally, it's less than 20%, or 22, 23, depending on what the market is doing on the day. But yeah, we might see some support here, or actually we might not, because we have this trend line as well that could possibly be broken. So we could break the downside here, especially if we lose this volume. And then I would definitely look for this as a bit of a target. This is not related to Edgepool, but just general technical analysis. If you're interested in kind of me doing some technical analysis, what's that different colour? Rather strange. Let me know, maybe I can do some different streams based on just that. The background music is driving me mad. I will turn it off. I didn't realise it was that loud. I thought it was really quiet. If I could find it. There we go. What if I turned it down? Like that. Is that enough? It's good to know though. Thank you for the feedback. Let's try that for now. See what you think. Make sure you do, if you can. I'm sure you can, because you're on it. Subscribe to me on YouTube at Sean Trades. Oh, I don't know what happened there. I think I lost connection for a bit. I don't know what happened there at all. Am I back? I think I'm back. I think I'm live. Not sure what's going on. But yeah, if you can, subscribe to me on YouTube. And obviously follow on X as well, at Sean Trades. Maybe I should put that on there, because it takes away my name when I put it on there. There you go. So we are getting a bit of a drop into the close here, as you can see. Let's have a look at our theoretical meta trade. Good to hear. That's what we like to see. So that is the level 8. Cool. Meta. Yeah. So going fine. It's actually showing a bit of strength considering where the market is. What we do is we do a split screen. So on the left we will have Meta. On the right we will have SPY. Five-minute chart. Is that better? Is that more informative if I do that, a split screen? I know a lot of traders do that, to be fair. I kind of like that, actually. Yeah. More split screen needed. Yeah, so Meta showing strength compared to SPY, for sure. This one seems to be playing out quite nicely. That's not where the stop loss would be. It would be there. Which risk to reward wise is not good. I haven't placed any of these trades, by the way. Sometimes it's best to just kind of sit on your hands. I was way too late for this one, which is a shame because I could have made a bit of money with that. And this one is not part of the Edge4 kind of strategy, so I will leave it. But it'd be interesting to see if it kind of plays out. Coming into the last 9 minutes as well, so the last 10 minutes is normally pretty volatile. And when I do these streams, I use the power hour breakout report. I tend to obviously scalp because it's the nature of the kind of the strategy. So I do size up slightly for the scalp because it's a shorter term trade, so you get those kind of smaller moves. That makes sense. Sometimes you do get absolute rockets into the close, sometimes to the downside and to the upside. We have had a couple of them on the stream. That's been really nice to see. But mostly that's kind of just a bit of luck, I would say. So in terms of management, obviously we've got 3 minutes left of the close. We're on the 5-minute chart here. What you could do is just bring that up below the most recent low as a stop loss, just because then you're going to make a bit of money there. And the data lies up until the close of the market. So beyond that, you don't want to hold overnight. Is what I'm trying to say. That's not where the data lies. I mean, it's up to you to how you manage your trades, but that's not what we're talking about here with this specific strategy. It's really annoying. The circles in my glasses. Look at that. Should we have a look around, see what's going on with the different stocks? Let's go into the daily chart. A bit more activity going on. Alibaba showing lots of promise here at these levels. In fact, I might have a little look at that. Where are my lines gone? I did have lines here. No. Okay, this must be a different chart that was on. But yeah, the lines show a descending wedge pattern, but we're coming into support. This is obviously previous resistance back in February, March, April-ish. Coming back down to those levels and showing a bit of strength. What's the RSI doing? Not much. I don't hate that. Not bad. I might have to have a look at that. What list am I on? Blimey. Let's do this by amount of percentage there. Rocket Lab. Flying up and get 10% again today. New all-time highs. New all-time highs. There you go. Is it new all-time highs? Yes. Grab up 5%. That's good to see. These are all the stocks I have, by the way. In my in fact, I have a couple more now. I've got Netflix in there. And CoreWeave. Yeah, space stocks definitely continue their momentum. We will have to monitor that. Obviously, they're not going to go up forever. This is like the quantum stocks a couple of years ago. Yeah, just be careful when you're trading these sorts of stocks. So bear with me. I'm just having a look at Alibaba for swing trade. Okay, yeah. Did that. Sure. Right, let's cycle through some of these stocks then. Snapchat up 4%. I spoke about this one yesterday on a stream of K. It's my pick for the year, one of my picks for the year. And I'm going to release my other pick for the year, next year, I mean. I'm going to release my next pick for the year on Sunday. Don't think about my words then. Snapchat, Lucid doing okay, Path doing okay, Zeta doing okay as well, still within this channel. You can see this is what I wanted to happen with it, but it doesn't always play out. Could do is actually adjust the channel slightly to accommodate the price action, because it's very clearly just back into the channel. We could see this come back down to kind of 15.50. I hope we don't, because I entered it at some point somewhere here, I think it was, in the support. Not my best entry, but you know, I'll take it what it is. Tesla doing pretty well today, 1.6%. Amazon was having a very strong finish last time we checked on the smaller charts here. Have a look. Oh, look at that. Meta doing quite nicely as well. Amazon dropping. Okay, right. It went really nicely up and then just dropped down. Perfect. Yeah, so the meta trade looks like it's going to play out quite nicely. You need to watch the timing on this, because I've done it before where I've carried it through the night by accident, mainly because I'm streaming. But I've carried through Barber once. Luckily, it paid off. It went actually went really well. A couple of weeks, I think it was about 3 weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago. But because I was waffling so much, I kept it overnight. Anyway, I digress. So yeah, Barber doing pretty well, as we just spoke about. And Phase actually breaking out of the trend line. Whoa, didn't see that. How did I not see that? This is what happens when you track quite a few stocks, or you're just busy. You know, it's Christmas period. Everyone's busy. This trend line has gone on literally since October, November last year, and it's been broken. Watch out for this one, folks. Watch out for this one. It's come out. It's come back down and retested. I've obviously done the analysis on that previously, but I forgot. Forgot that to be tested. I'm already in this stock. I bought it back here as a long-term play. That's not a swing trade for me. It's a long-term play. Neo just flat for the last few weeks, which is fair enough. You know, I made a big move, kind of settling around $5. CoreWeave, good day on Friday. Nice and flat today. That's not too bad. Just needs to kind of dribble its way through 85. Tim's breaking that bear flag that I drew last week. Needs to find definitely a higher low at these levels. If not, I think we see sub 30. Netflix. Again, I started this position this morning, as a bit of a swing trade. I plan on starting position here very small, and if it does come back down to kind of 84, which is my ultimate kind of target, then I will add obviously substantially more. Rivian doing very well overall in the last month or so, 2 months actually. Would expect to see kind of a natural calm down for sure. I took some profits, I think, a couple of weeks ago, because I realised how big my position was, and it wasn't very well balanced. And yeah, so we go back to the main charts here. So the edge fall kind of play that we spoke about would have been quite nice. You know, we've got 25 seconds of the market left. Let's say I would have sold now. We can get rid of that because the stop loss was not needed. We would have made 0.5%, which for a scalp is pretty good. And the minimum we would have made was 0.36%, which again is pretty good. If you missed the kind of description around it, then of course go back on the stream. I think it was about 15 minutes ago. So I do about 30-minute streams. So about 15 minutes in, go have a look at kind of what my thoughts were behind it and how you can make money with the Edgepool platform. But for now, that's the stream for today. Make sure you check out the link below in the description in YouTube and of course on X as well. If not, you can go to edgepool.com to find your edge in the market. And lastly, of course, make sure you subscribe to me on YouTube and follow me on X at SeanTrades_. I really appreciate your time. I look forward to doing this once again. Hoping to do it again Friday, or might do a weekend special because there's another strategy I like to have a look at as well. But I haven't cemented because it's Christmas. It's hard to know when I'm available as such. But yeah, no, I look forward to seeing you all again. Keep in touch. If you've got any questions, let me know. I'm always happy to answer them. And I'll see you in the next stream. Take care, guys, and trade safe.